I'm John Kaiser at the Metals Investor Forum in Vancouver, January 23rd, 2026. I am here with Chris Herald, CEO of Solitario Resources Corp. Chris, welcome back to Vancouver.
Thank you, John. Thanks for the invite. It's always good to be here.
Now, I've had you as a top pick multiple years, and it's been a bit frustrating. Your stock price is still pretty much where it was, and the problem has been this American U.S. Forest Service permitting system where you have to figure out where your drill pads are before you know anything about the third dimension. And just to provide some backstory, Golden Crest is phenomenal. I've loved it once I understood what was going on. Younger rocks on top than in the north Black Hills area, where an endowment of over 90 million ounces has been identified both through the older Precambrian homestake deposits and the younger wharf-style deposits. And the reason this area was overlooked is because the rocks at surface weren't like they were elsewhere, and when they panned the stuff, they really didn't get any flash. So right now we're waiting for the Ponderosa application. You had plenty of time to do lots of surface sampling, so you've got some really sizzling anomalies, and your drill pads are right there in the middle of it. So if you do get the permission to drill, you can probably drill for a couple of years. So we're all waiting to hear from the U.S. Forest Service. You can't go in there until April or so to do anything. But you also want to go back to the original Golden Crest plan of operations act, because now you do have some third dimension information about what's going on. Do you think there's any chance that the inefficiency will disappear, that this permitting cycle will become more efficient? Because this is exploration drilling. Why is there a movement afoot to make this more rational?
Yeah, I can say I believe moving forward, it's going to be quite a bit faster. You'll still do the same amount of work, but I think the response time that we'll get from the Forest Service is going to be better, because their mandate now, rather than in the previous administration, the mandate was pretty much, let's take it slow. And the mandate now within the government agencies is it's a priority for development of resources, oil and gas, minerals, and things like that. So we've seen really good momentum and responsiveness out of the Forest Service on 3 of our projects, actually. Golden Crest, we have 2 others in Colorado. The one in Colorado went very well. The first one, it took less than a year. The Ponderosa, we kind of had a series of setbacks in terms of Forest Service personnel changed a number of times in 2025, and then a new person has to get up to speed. We also had the government shutdown, and that really, I think, hurt the share price. Now, moving forward, we're expecting a decision out of the Forest Service soon.
Okay, a decision can be, yeah.
The decision could be that, but I think in this case, it's highly unlikely.
Okay.
And it's because our disturbance level, this is, like you said, it's exploration drilling, and we're drilling off of existing roads.
And you're reclaiming everything.
And we're reclaiming everything. And we've had good response from both the state of South Dakota and also the Forest Service. I think we were the first permit, Golden Crest, in 20 years on Forest Service land.
Oh, wow.
And they were really surprised, I think, at the end of the day, how little impact. People have this vision sometimes of a massive oil rig that takes acres of land. These are, our drill rigs are twice the size of a pickup. And so they now know how little impact exploration drilling does. And I think they're a lot more comfortable there. We've also worked with them now for several years, developed some credibility. They love the reclamation that we're doing right now on previous drill holes. So we're excited about drilling this coming year. It's a great target, Ponderosa.
Okay, you mentioned two projects in Colorado which surfaced last year. One of them is, I think it's Cat Creek,
Creek.
a moly play, and you apparently have a drill permit. What is this all about, and what do you plan to do? And even if the Forest Service drags on with Ponderosa, is this a potentially big deal? This Cat Creek moly play?
You know, I really love the Cat Creek Molly play. The whole play was put together about 40 years ago by Anaconda Copper, which at the time was one of the largest mining companies in the world. They did 2 to 3 years of surface work, geophysics, geochemistry. They had a big moly program going on. They were successful on another property in Colorado where they just made a good moly discovery. It was too deep though. This one here was their number one drilling program back in 1983. They were getting ready to drill it, had it all set up, and then their parent, Arco Oil and Gas, decided to sell Anaconda, shut down all exploration. So that data went into a file repository that we were able to access. And so we're sitting there with the benefit of great geophysics, good mapping, good geochemistry, and it's in big moly country. The two of the three largest primary moly mines in the world are in Colorado, about 140 miles north of us. Your Climax and Henderson. Climax and Henderson, two of the three largest ones. When you look at the IP signature, which is a geophysical tool that's very good for porphyries, it looks, almost as big as those two, a little bit smaller than Henderson. We have two areas of moly mineralization at surface. The geophysics tells us the depth to moly mineralization is something in the neighborhood of 200 to 300 meters deep. So it's not super deep. And I like the reason I like it, it's an asymmetric thing. If it's there, these moly deposits are tens and tens of billions of dollars in molybdenum value. So if we hit moly, it's a big deal. If we don't hit it, we spent about $500,000 testing a really tier one type target. So we'll find out. We're going to be drilling there sometime in August is the startup date.
Okay. And what sort of budget would you have for that?
It's about $500,000 budget. So
would that sort of make or break the hypothesis?
Yeah, right. Okay. That's what we're not going to drill a lot of holes. These moly porphyries, they're big. So you either hit on your first couple holes or it's time to walk away. So it's that type of project.
Now, this week you press released another Colorado project, Bright Angel, and I'm reading this and saying, this is really, really interesting. Now, what's the permitting situation there, and why is this so special?
This again was another project we found in the Anaconda files, and it's one I never knew about. And oddly enough, I worked for Anaconda for 6 years when the moly program was going on, but I was in uranium, so I never really heard about this. This gold copper porphyry, we call it Bright Angel. Anaconda worked on that from about 1970 to around 1980. But there was a private company, individual really, that did the initial work. And he drilled something like 180 16-meter holes.
16?
16.
16.
50-foot holes. And you can say, why did he do this? Back in the old days, you had to make discovery efforts. And so you drill a shallow hole, and that validates the claim. And that's why he did that. Well, the ones that looked like they were mineralized, he deepened. And so about a dozen of them, he took to 200 meters. Two of the holes have reportedly really interesting gold and copper grades. We can't report those because we don't have the assay sheets. We have the reports from Anaconda. We have, we're pretty comfortable that they're accurate, but current regulations, regulatory regulations, you have to have your assay sheets to report them to the public. So we're comfortable going in there with a head start on a couple real interesting drill holes. We'd like to validate those. Hopefully we will. And if we do, this is a very special project.
Now, when I talked to you earlier about this, what seems to be interesting about it is the Anaconda was looking for a traditional mushroom style copper system. Gold was $35 an ounce, so who gave a crap about gold back then? It was all about copper. And these elevated grades seem to be in the middle of this thing. And then it sort of peters out. So, well, this is no good. It's too small. It's crap. But back then they didn't have the pencil porphyry type model, which is only about 20 years old, and all the rage where things actually get better at depth, like Red Crest. New Crest bought into Red Crest, which used to be a boring copper thing until they drilled deeper. So is this a pencil porphyry type target that was actually discovered but ignored because of the circumstances of the time?
We hope so. That's our model going in. Anaconda drilled 12 holes. They never really drilled into the heart of the two really apparently well mineralized holes. They never drilled there. They drilled around it, and there was low grade copper in I think 6 of the 12 holes around this. And some of the holes were hundreds of meters away. Many of them were 500 meters away. These pencil porphyries, Acadia is one. New Crest, as you mentioned, was the company that really unlocked this new style of mineralization. And they're not big. They're several hundred meters in diameter, but they're higher grade copper and they're really good gold grades. So our model is to test for this type of system. The alteration that we see there is the same alteration you get for alkaline pike-like porphyries. What Anaconda was testing for was what's called a calc-alkaline, the mushroom type, which is 1,000 or 1,500 meters laterally. The pencil porphyries are several hundred meters. So it's and they tend to occur in clusters too. Mm-hmm. So if we can validate this early on, there could be a lot more potential left at Bright Angel.
And how many years to permit drilling there?
Well, we're off to a good start. We've filed a notice of intent. We're working on a plan of operation right now that we hope to file in the very near future. We think it'll be classified as a categorical exclusion, which means the permitting process is shortened.
Because of the copper.
And actually because the disturbance is not really big. And so we hope to get in there late summer, early fall.
With a drill.
Oh,
wow.
That's our goal. Can we do it? We're not sure yet. We're working with the Forest Service right now. They've been responsive. We have to, just move the process forward as fast as we can. We've got a Forest Service that, again, they tell us we've been mandated for energy, minerals, and logging. And those are priority permitting situations within the Forest Service. So we hope to take advantage of that. We hope to get it permitted in time to drill some this year. If we can't, we're pretty confident that, we'll be able to drill in 27, but our goal is 26.
Okay. So this is great. There may be 3 major discoveries happening this year.
Yeah. I that's the dream machine, obviously. But, Ponderosa at Golden Crest is just a fabulous target. I love Bright Angel. We think we have something special there. And then the Molly is kind of keep your fingers crossed that this is a Molly porphyry system. Mm-hmm.
I've been speaking with Chris Herald of Solitario Resources Corp at the Metals Investor Forum in Vancouver. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, John.